Mercedes is making a retro version of their G Wagon, an old school version. And Lamborghini is making an old school version of their car as well. And it makes me wonder, have we actually reached the peak of car designs just because the fact that we're going back to the retro thing? I mean, Hyundai brought out the Ioniq 5 and that was a retro looking car and people loved it. And it makes me wonder, is it time to actually go back? I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about this ever since the new generation of hypercars from Ferrari and McLaren came out. And honestly, they looked a bit too tame. They didn't give us the excitement that we were expecting in terms of design. I mean, they look good, but it doesn't look something special, something that you go look and go wow. And it makes me wonder that they hit the ceiling. Everyone's hit the ceiling about how far people can go with designs, and whether they're gonna have to go back to retro because I mean it kind of makes sense. That's how fashion sometimes works. There's a new trend and a new trend after that and a new trend, and after a point the older trends start coming back and they start recycling through trends again in terms of clothing styles. And I'm starting to think that it's going to be the same thing with cars. The fact that they're going back to the cars from the previous century, the design, makes you think that, I mean, you need something new and unique to catch the eye of the consumers. And all those retro cars from the past, I mean, most of them probably aren't even on the road anymore. So you can actually bring those designs back and make it seem like they're new in comparison to the current cars. I mean, if you haven't seen the design before, then when this thing comes out, even though the people who know it's retro, the people who don't see at it and look like it's some radical new design, it kind of makes sense to do that. But are all retro designs great? No. Some of them are really great. And I don't honestly don't have a problem with it as long as there's a bit of modernity in it. I'm okay with it. And honestly, I'd really like to see a modern version of the F40 come out. I mean, the F40 design was iconic. I love that design, and I really like to see it come back. And it doesn't really need to be all that modernized. They can just bring it back and add a few changes to it, and people would love it. As long as people aren't used to seeing it and haven't seen it in a long time, people will accept it. Honestly, the design of the Daytona SP3 is kind of proof of it. I mean, that looks like a modernized version of an old school design, and people really like the design of that car. Even though it looks a old school, it looks different compared to all the new cars, and it looks special. That's what people want. People want different designs and all their cars to look different. They don't want all the cars to look the same. Because let's face it, a lot of these EVs are starting to look a lot similar, look really smoothened out for aerodynamics and all that, and they're honestly starting to look boring. So compared to that, a square brick from the 80s would be awesome to look at. And people don't honestly care that much about aerodynamics just for the sake of a few more miles of range. They just don't. They just rather have the great design. I mean, honestly, how much more range can you get from the smoothing the car out that much? I mean, that was the problem with the EQS. They focus so much on aerodynamics that the car looked like a. Oh, what does it look like? To me, it looked like a giant mouse pad. And people did not like the design of the car at all. And they didn't have to do that. They could have just made an electric version of the S Class and people would have loved it. I mean, that's what BMW did. Instead of completely smoothing it out and creating something similar to Mercedes, they just went and created an electric version of the BMW 7 Series. that was exactly like the BMW ICE version of the BMW 7 Series, and people love that car, even though it's not as aerodynamic as the EQS. They don't care. People love a good design. People half of the time, people are focused on how the car looks, and the other half how it drives. And if the looks aren't great, even if the driving's great, I mean, people want to show off their cars. When people spend money on a car, they want other people to see it and look at it and go, wow, nice. But these modern EVs that are so focused on aerodynamics, yeah, they don't look that great. And I don't think people want that. And it's not like they cannot do aerodynamics to get the range and keep the cars looking good. I mean, Lucid does that and they do a good job. They somehow managed to do it, and the car looks like a decent looking car. It looks like a luxury sedan. So I don't see any reason why everything has to become smooth and round like a what? I look like an oval shape or something. People want good designs and they're willing to put up with the lack of lower range. I mean, the range in modern cars, in some of them, aren't that great to begin with. So it's not really a design factor for the people who are getting some of these cars. So yeah, I honestly like the fact that retro designs are coming back, because there are a lot of cool looking retro designs. And compared to the modern cars that look a bit too plain and similar, these retro cars would be a great hit. People want something that looks different, and I personally like it. Now, what cars would I honestly want to see come back from the retro look? Honestly, I really like the American cars from the 50s. I think, I don't know the time frame exactly, but the 50s and 60s, the ones with the really long bonnet and really long tail that look so massive. I really like those designs. Now, I would like to see those designs come back. Now, whether that would is a whole other question, because we're kind of moving towards EVs and sedans aren't really that popular anymore. So that might not happen, but still, I would really like to see it, and maybe, I don't know, bring out sports cars that look like that again. I mean, those cars looked huge. Those bonnets were awesome, giant bonnets. And with the size of those bonnets, you could put big engines in there, or even a hybrid system or whatever. But the look is the main thing. I mean, it's kind of those kind of designs are kind of proven. I mean, think about the Dodge cars, the Challenger. Those designs haven't really changed, barely changed since they came out. I mean, how many design changes have you seen? From what I remember, the oldest Dodges I remember have the same design. So yeah, I'd like to see retro designs come back, and let's wait and see.